Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today for this exclusive webinar with Humanitas University in Italy. Today's webinar will go on for 1 hour. In the first half, we will discuss about the university, and then we'll move on to the Q&A session where you can type your questions and we'll be answering them. So we have Ms. Rumina from Humanitas University with us today. Over to you.
Okay, hello everybody and welcome. Thank you, Mrs. Sahara, for having introduced me. As you were saying, I'm Romina Di Giulio and I work in the marketing and recruiting office of Humanitas University. It's a pleasure for me to be here today because I'm always happy to share more information about our institution, but today I'm not alone. I can see here online also Sara and Mariada, who are two of our medical students, and I will leave them the stage a little bit later. Well, let's start. So I have a presentation, so I will share my screen. Okay. Mm-mm-mm. Okay, could you see the screen?
Yes.
Perfect. So let's start with some general information, I would say. Basically, we are Humanitas University and we are based in Milan, so the northern part of Italy. And as you can see here in the picture, we are a campus university. So also for this reason, the campus was built not in the city center, but just alongside the Humanitas Hospital. But we are not so far because we are like 15 kilometers far from the Duomo, which is the most important church, let's say, in Milan. I think it's really, really important to give you also a visual idea of the institution because, as I was saying, we are a campus university, so every building was built in the same area and it is so easy to reach. The, let's say, position of the campus also reflects what is Humanitas' mission and philosophy, which is built on the strict collaboration and cooperation between the three main pillars of Humanitas Group, let's say, which are the clinical activity represented by the hospital, the education represented by the university, and also the research field represented by our own research labs. As I was saying, we are in Milan, and it's also important to underline the fact that Milan is a city Lombardy, and that region in Italy and also in Europe is considered one of the most important model, let's say, in the healthcare system. As per our educational offer, we have two international degree courses. So it means that they are completely taught in English language, which are medicine and surgery, let's say the traditional one, which every year welcomes a total of 200 students divided into 150 EU candidates and 50 non-EU ones. And then we have the MedTech School, which is, let's say, a new program composed by 100 places every year, divided into 80 places for EU students and 24 non-EU students. But let's have a look at the medicine and surgery degree course. The title that you will award after the 6 years, because the degree course lasts 6 years and is what we call in Italy a single cycle master degree. you will obtain a master degree in medicine and surgery with the license to practice in Italy. So what makes this course unique is especially its main features, like the fact that there will be integrated modules. What does it mean? Lectures and exams are designed to be interconnected with one another. So, for example, you will study a particular part of the human body, and you will study not only the anatomy, but every features of that anatomical part, for example, the physiology, the pathology, and so on. Then you will start clinical activities in Humanitas hospitals from the third year. So you will leave all your stuff in your personal locker, you will walk 5 minutes and you will reach the hospital where you can meet again your professors, because doctors at the hospital are usually your professors at the university. We have also some specific tracks for high motivated students, which can be both in research or in specific words. For example, there's the Virgilio program and the honors track, but I won't say anything more about them because there are Sara and Mariada who will explain better than me what they are. And then you will have some practical activities in our simulation center, but let's say starting from the 5th year of study. We will have a look on the simulation later. Then we have the MedTech school. I would say that the MedTech, yes, is a new course. Actually, we started in 2019, so we had our first class of graduates last year. Why we created MedTech? Because there was the need to merge also tradition and innovation, especially in the medical field and in healthcare. So we want to master the technological advancement, and also we want to foster the innovation in the patient-doctor, let's say, relation. So we had this program. It's a double degree program, so at the end of the 6 years, you will achieve actually 2 titles. The first one is a master degree in medicine and surgery with the license to practice in Italy, and the second one is a bachelor degree in biomedical engineering. We hold this degree course in partnership with the Politecnico of Milan. So, in fact, the first semester of the first 3 years, you will be physically at the Politecnico to join the lectures, while other semesters you will come to Humanitas, let's say, for the medical part of the course. This is why clinical activities will start 1 year after then the medicine and surgery program. So you will start going to the hospital starting from the 4th year. Some specific features of the MedTech is that you will have as well integrated modules, but you will have also some master classes with biotech companies. Then why you can choose MedTech or medicine? Let's say if you are interested in also for example, engineering, the industrial fields, you can choose the MedTech, because actually MedTech graduates are the bridge between the medical field and the engineering part. So you can choose if you want to, for example, specialize yourself via postgraduate medical schools, and you can do this because after graduation you achieve actually a master degree as medical doctor. Or you can choose if you, for example, are interested in the industry, you can go and work as an engineer. Or if you are, for example, focused on research, you can also apply for a PhD program according what are your interests are. As I was saying, this is the simulation center. So it is one of the largest in Europe, and it is composed by different high fidelity rooms where we can simulate actually clinical cases and different scenarios as if students were, let's say, in real operating rooms. We have also the Cube, which is a space dedicated especially to our residents. And there's also the anatomy lab, where only, let's say, experts can practice because they use real bodies to improve surgical procedures and technique. How you can be admitted to our university? Actually, there's an admission test. Starting from this year, the test will be a unique one for both medicine and surgery and medtech school courses. The test will be available in two different sessions, let's say. The first round will be at the beginning of March, so the 5th and the 6th of March, and the second round will be 2 weeks after, so the 18th and the 20th. You can choose if you want to take the test only once or twice. Actually, you will pick your best score for the final ranking list. The test will be only online, and it will be composed by 60 multiple choice questions, which are divided into 3 different parts. The first one is a section on scientific thinking and academic literacy. Then you will have a second section focused on biology and chemistry. And then the last one is focused and composed by questions about maths and physics. So if you are interested, for example, in both courses, you can apply for them. You will sit and take the test. According to the course you want to apply for, questions will be weighted in a different way. For example, if you want to apply for only for medicine and surgery, the first section, so the scientific thinking and academic literacy one, will be more important than the others. Instead, if you want to apply for the medtech school, the last section, so the maths and physics one, will be more important than the others. More important in the sense that will weigh more than the others. Or, third option, if you want to apply for both courses, actually you will achieve 2 different scores, one valid for medicine and the other for medtech. And then at the end, we will publish the 2 final ranking lists. And according to your position, you can be admitted or not in one or both courses. For specific information about the test and the admission process, you can find on our website the call for application for 2026-2027 intake. And then we can discuss about it a little bit later. Then fees and scholarship. Actually, for non-EU students, fees are flat and they are 23,000 euros per year. Humanitas University also offers some scholarships. For example, as you can see here, for medicine this year, we had 3 partial scholarships, but with the 80% reduction. And for medtech, we offer 2 partial ones. Let's say that the number of scholarships usually is the same every year. So we can keep these numbers as valid even for next year's intake. Our scholarships are merit-based. So according to your position in the final ranking list, you can be eligible or not to get a scholarship. But if you get a scholarship in your first year and you will be on track with your exams, you can keep it until your last year of study. This is important to know. While for EU students, fees vary depending on the family income. We calculate the fees to pay according to the ISEP index. So they vary from a minimum of 10,000 euros per year till a maximum of 23,000 euros per year. Here also for EU candidates, we have different scholarships available. For example, this year we had 9 scholarships in total, divided into some full and some partial. And for MedTech, we had a total of 6 scholarships. Okay, I said everything actually, so I stopped sharing my screen. And now, actually, I leave the stage to Sara and Mariada. They will tell you more about, let's say, student life and their experience here at the campus.
Yes, hi. It's really nice to meet everyone. So thank you, Romina, for the introduction. Anyway, I'm Sara. I'm a fifth-year medical student, and I will briefly talk about some aspects of the student experience at Humanitas. So first of all, I wanted to talk about the two main extracurricular programs offered by the university itself, and that's the Virgilio program and the Honors Track. So we have the Virgilio program that is made in collaboration with 2 other universities in Milan, which is, I think, really interesting and important because we get the chance also to mix with other medical students from other parts of Italy or other parts of the world. And the aim is to introduce students to the research world. So basically to understand whether you would like to become a researcher and what is the role of the physician researcher. And it has a duration of 3 years, so it's a 4th, 5th, and 6th-year medical school. And usually we have 15 places for both medicine and medtech together. And it involves lectures, seminars. We have some practical courses, as well as a mandatory 1-month rotation in a research lab in any kind of field you're interested in. So you're assigned a mentor, and the mentor also helps you to find a rotation in something you want to study more. And actually, both me and Mariada are part of the program, and I think it's a really good way to have an idea of what it means to be a researcher, and it will give you useful skills, even if you don't actually want to do a PhD or become a bench scientist. But it's always useful to see how to approach a research paper, how to present posters, and how to reach an hypothesis and study something in an experimental way. And the other extracurricular program is the Honors Track, and that is more clinically oriented. So it's more based on specific fields in the hospital. So it lasts for 2 years, so 5th and 6th year. And it's focused on extra lectures, extra clinical activities, rotations in the hospital, as well as clinical cases, multidisciplinary meetings, and stuff like that in specific fields. For instance, this year we had oncology and radiotherapy, orthopedics, pathology, internal medicine, emergency medicine, public health, surgery, and immunology. As well as there is a 1-month rotation in a hospital in a couple of nations in Africa. And that's only during the 5th year. And that's interesting if you already have an idea of what you want to do. It could be an interesting way to get more experience in a specific field. And other than extracurricular activities, we have a lot of student societies that are created by the students for the students. So basically we have from sports club for like football, basketball, volleyball, climbing, to other more professional-oriented fields, like we have ophthalmology society, orthopedics, pediatrics, oncology, and many others. And basically, the number of societies grows every year. And if you have a particular interest in an idea, you can actually create your own. And it's really a good way to improve the student life because there is always something to do. They organize events, seminars, they can help you find a rotation abroad. So it's a really good way to improve your experience at the university.
Hi everyone, my name is Mariada. I'm also a fifth-year medical student here at Humanitas, and I wanted to talk a bit about the international environment of our university and the opportunities that it gives us. So we have two programs. We have the travel grant program, which is a selection-based program, meaning that we can come up with some projects and the university of like experiences abroad. They can be research experiences or they can be internship experiences, and the university approves our projects and it gives us funds to go to foreign countries to do our experience, or if we want to go abroad but we don't really have place in mind yet, there are also some places that are suggested by the university. So the university also has some partnerships with hospitals or also labs that they can, let's say, guide us for. And they and if our project gets approved, we can get money for it, and the university contributes to our experiences abroad. And there's also the Erasmus project, which is the second project, which is a project for studying abroad. So there are some partnerships with Humanitas University. I think there are some in Spain, Portugal, and some other destinations that can be found on the website. And there's a selection, and the students can study for one semester or for the whole year abroad. And this is also there's also a possibility of doing the Erasmus projects for traineeships. So similar to the travel grants, but it's a more European project and it's a more recognized project. And then a thing that I really appreciate from our university is that we have some services, like, for example, the counseling service. And this service is a very important, add on to the whole university experience, because if we have some things that we struggle with or some problems with studying, we can always have someone to talk to, and it's qualified people. So we can book an appointment and have the support from someone that maybe knows how to help us, and it's good to have someone to talk to. And there's also support for students that have specific learning requirements, maybe some kind of disabilities. So there's a lot of attention to the requirement of everyone. And also during the exams, for example, maybe some people need more time or they need some different modalities for the examinations. So there's not a one thing suits all method, but everyone has, their own methods, and so this is really taken care of. Yeah, that's all on my part.
Thank you, Mariana. Thank you both girls. And Mrs. Zara, we finished actually, so
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Romina, for the presentation, and Mariata and Sarah for your insights as well. It's always nice to hear from medical students. So we'll move on to the Q&A session now. Students, you can type your questions. There should be a button at the center bottom of your screen that says Q&A. And I can see we've got a lot of questions pouring in already. So let's begin with the first question regarding the license to practice in Italy. After 6 years of study, how can the doctors get the license, and should they write a separate licensing examination, or is it not needed?
Well, actually, because of the recent legal changes, the medical degree in medicine and surgery or medtech from an Italian university is now what we call laurea abilitante, meaning that the degree itself enables you to practice medicine once you graduate. So you won't have to pass another license examination. Okay, so usually our students, once they are graduated, the only thing that they have to do is that they have to register themselves with the, in Italy, we call it Ordine dei Medici, in the city, let's say, where they plan to practice. This is the professional register that legally allow them to practice medicine in Italy, let's say.
All right. Next question is about the scholarship. So, what could be the maximum scholarship that a student can get? Is it merit-based and is it valid for the entire 6 years? Or is there any scholarship starting from second year onwards?
Usually, the maximum amount of the scholarship is a reduction of the 80% of all the fees of 1 year. So, if the fees are 23,000 euros, the maximum amount of scholarship will be 18,000 euros. Once you get the scholarship on your first year, you can keep it, but if you meet some requirements, for example, if you are on track with your exam and you regularly pay annual fees. And that's it, actually. If you meet those requirements, you can keep it until the last year of your study path.
All right. Next question about the MedTech course. So, what are the potential job opportunities after the course, and what kind of industries can the students enter?
Well, as per industries, I would say companies, of course, biotech companies, and potential job opportunities like specialized doctors if they want to pursue the, let's say, the medical path. So if I don't know if they want to apply for specialty schools or work as an engineer.
All right. Next question is about the tuition fee. Other than the tuition fees, are there any other fees related or required for students to pay?
Actually, fees will cover only education, let's say. So, for example, there's the canteen, and students, if they want to eat basically here at the campus, they have to pay. They will have reduced, let's say, promotion for them. And that's it. Also, for example, if they want to stay here at our dorms, they have a separate cost that is not included in fees amount.
All right. Next question is by Adam. So, could you talk a bit about the language barrier?
Well, actually, the two courses are taught completely in English language. So from the admission test to the graduation day, everything will be in English. But since you will have to go to the hospital for the clerkship, you will have to learn a little bit of Italian language, but no worries. We offer from the very beginning Italian classes and they are for free. They are not mandatory, but let's say strongly recommended. And they always help a lot, especially international students.
All right. Next question is by Rafe. After the 6 years of the degree, is there a need of an internship in the hospital? And if so, are there any opportunities for non-EU students?
Well, actually, for this question, I will ask the help of Mariana and Sara because, for example, after the 6 year, you won't need extra internship, but during your years of study, you can ask for it in a specific one or in a specific hospital, even abroad, and we can recognize it as an extracurriculum activity. if you want to
I
add
can.
something, yes.
Yes. So I'm not sure if the question is specifically about this, but I know that in some other European countries, after you graduate, before you can start working, you need to do some months in the hospital. And that is not the case for Italy because during our 6 years, especially during our fifth and sixth year here at Humanitas, but in most of Italian universities, we have a mandatory internship that is part of the 6 years, let's say, and that is what will count then as this habilitating extra internship. So once we graduate from the day after, as long as we register to the Ordine dei Medici that Romina was talking about before, we're allowed to start working right away. So there's no need of an extra internship afterwards. And yeah, we can do some internship during the 6 years, and they can be recognized with some extra credits, but that's not a mandatory thing, it's just some extra thing.
Let me add this one that in some countries you get a degree after 5 years and your internship is not a requirement. But here 6 years including internship. So there is no point of doing extra internship unless and until if a specific country requires something. No. Otherwise, normally internship is part of the program and you cannot get a degree without having these mandatory internship. This is part of the program. That's why you are paying the fees for this also. No, I hope it's clear. Yeah.
All right. Next question is by Jesse. Is the entrance examination called the IMAT exam or the UMAT? And is it the same for every university in Italy, Med University?
Well, the IMAT, yes, because it's the admission test for state universities in Italy. But the UMAT is the specific test for Humanitas University, as we are a private institution. So they are two different things, let's say.
All right. I think this also answers the next question by Basma Farooq. Let's answer the question by Shriya. What would you say about the accommodation and the living cost? Just an approximate range.
Well, let's say that Milan is quite an expensive city, but accommodation, if you share, if you live with other people in the same apartment, so you can rent a room, I would say 600 euros per month, actually. And the living cost, it depends. I would say 1,500 euros monthly for accommodation and, for example, food, more or less.
All right. This also answers the next question. Moving on to the question by Sakib. Is there any age limit to apply? Are applicants below 18 years encouraged to apply, and do they get visa, or do they have to wait until they're 18 years old?
Well, actually, let's say there's no specific age limit, but it is better to be 18 because if you are a minor, you may face some issues for the visa because you will need a legal guardian in Italy.
All right. We have answered the second part of question for Sakib about the internship. Moving on to Umar's question. First part about the Italian, we've answered that. Second part is, are transfer medical students accepted as he's studying medicine in German language in Germany and would love to transfer to Humanitas to study in English if it's possible?
Yes, it is. We usually welcome transfer students from the second year, and there will be the call for transfers on our website, let's say during the summer. So you can apply there. There's the dean of the degree course who will evaluate the curriculum, syllabus of exam that you already did, and yeah, and that's it. You will have also an oral interview. They can evaluate your transfer to Humanitas.
Yes, I would just like to add that a transfer is a very complicated process. It's not easy. because
Yeah.
first of all they will check where did you study, is this recognized or not, what courses are did you study, how many credit hours are there, how many
Yeah.
subjects are there, and they will map it. So it's a complicated process, no, so it's not that easy, it is quite difficult, no, so
Yeah,
but
it
you
is
can try for this.
possible, but we
Yeah,
can't guarantee that you
yeah,
will
yeah,
be accepted.
yeah.
Okay. Next question is if Humanitas values more the high school graduation grades or the admission test, and what would the grade requirements for A levels and IB look like?
Well, for the admission test, the most important thing is the score that you will achieve um, for the exam. So, no matters your high school grades, but there are some educational requirements to be eligible to sit for the test. For example, if you are attending a British curriculum, so you are doing and taking A levels, we require at least three A levels in science related subjects. There is a list on our website where we explain all the subjects that will be recognized, for example, biology, chemistry, physics, psychology, and so on, but no matter the grades. And also for the IB, the most important thing is that your IB diploma will be released from a school which is officially recognized by the IB organization.
All right. And any query related to the application, our office can be helping with that as well. So I will drop in our contact details in the chat box once again for you to contact us later too. Moving on to the next question by Sakib. Do students have the opportunity to be trained on actual patients, or do they take the training in simulation labs?
Well, actually, when you are a medical student, you can't be trained on real patients. You can't actually touch them. You will be there only as an observator. Mariada and Sarah, if you want to tell something about your experience during the internship or the clerkship.
Yeah, so from the third year, we actually do a mix of simulation stuff in the simulation lab and actual practice in the hospital. And in my experience, it really depends a lot on the ward where you're assigned.
Yeah.
But in general, most doctors are really happy to let you talk to the patients and help you practice and put in practice what you learned in lectures or during the simulation labs. And especially, I think what is really nice is that our professors and in general doctors of the hospital, they really if you write to them an email, even if you don't know them, they're really prone to just let you come to the ward and they actually let you do stuff. So it's a really nice way to learn.
I think actually he's trying to ask that do you work on this caliber? The dead bodies also that that's one, that's what he's trying to ask. No, that dead bodies are there to work on.
No, in the simulation lab, they are the mannequins. Actually, they are not real.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Joshua is asking, can the medtech students practice as traditional doctors?
Yes, they can.
Okay, there's a question about the under 18, but I've answered that. This question's answered too. Okay, Yamin is asking, what would the tuition fees, mess fee, the food, and the hostel fees for a year in combined look like?
Well, I would say tuition fees are 23,000 euros per year. We were saying about 1,500 euros per month. So less than 50,000 euros per year, I would say.
All right. We have a question by Jesse again. Can the sixth year student practice their internship in Humanitas, or it can be in any other country as an internship too.
You can choose, actually. You can apply for international projects or not. Mariada, do you want to add something more?
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're talking about the mandatory internship.
Yeah.
Because yeah, in that case, I think they're supposed to be done in a Humanitas hospital, but if you want to do it in some other country, you have to ask for approval by the committee, and it's not always a thing that is possible, because they are, like, let's say, official at the, like, in front of the law, so it's not always possible to have the same standards everywhere, let's say.
Yeah, let's say that the mandatory hours of internship of the 6th year, for example, you must do that at Humanitas Hospital. If you want to do some extra hours, you can choose to do them here or, for example, abroad.
I would just like to add this one. Not every hospital is accredited by the Humanitas. No. So first of all, you have to get the approval. Send the name. If the university approve it, then you can go. It's not like that that you go there, spend 1 year, and say that please accredit this one.
Yeah,
This
sure.
cannot be the case. No. So you have to first officially get all the approvals. And if the university said, okay, we will accept this one, then you can go. Otherwise, you cannot go.
Sure.
All right. Next question is, if with the Humanitas degree, can the students work in other countries in Europe without having to do the licensing exam, for example, Germany?
Well, the title is worldwide recognized, so for any EU and non-EU countries, while the license to practice is only for Italy. So if you want to practice in another country, you may have, for example, to do some extra examination. It depends on the countries. For example, in the US, we know that even for American students, if they want to practice there, they have to pass the USMLE examination. Or in UK, there's another exam. So depending on the country you want to practice, you have to do some stuff for the license to practice.
All right. Next question is, if the campus provides on-campus accommodation.
Yes, we have our own dorms. They are, let's say, just in front of the main buildings of the university, but they are managed by different administrations. So the second most important thing to do when you know that you are admitted is to check with them their availability, so you can guarantee yourself a place there, because unfortunately we have actually 2,000 students every year, but our dorms are, let's say, will cover, I would say, 200 places. So it's quite hard to book a place here.
All right. Sakib is asking, during the 6 years, when the internship is completed, which is from the third, fourth, and fifth years, is there any certificate that shows that they have completed the internship in the 6-year program?
I don't think I understand the question. So we talking about internship, which is mandatory in the 6 years of study, or is
Yes.
something more extra curriculum, let's say? Because during your 6 year, you have some mandatory hours that you must spend in our hospital.
Okay. Sakib, if that was not clear, I guess you could type again.
Let me clarify one thing. Okay, let me, because in some countries, I mean,
Okay.
in most of the countries, it's a 5-year program plus 1 year internship. No,
Yeah, I
so you're asking, say,
understand. I
so
understand. We already said a lot of times that in Humanitas is a 6 year program, programs, I would say, because it is also for medtech. while you have already internship inside the program, so you won't need extra internship. If you want to do extra internship, is something up to you, let's say.
Again, again, I would like to clarify that the difference between like some of the countries like India, Pakistan, they have 5+1, but in Humanitas it's 6 years including internship. It's not
Also,
like that that you do 5 years and plus 1 year. No. So
yeah,
it's a 6 years and internship is part of the program. So you are meeting the requirement of this internship like in some countries like India NMC required that internship should be a part of program. So it is part of the program now.
yeah. Thank you, Dr. Kadri.
All right. Next question is for practicing as a doctor in Italy, when the student passes out, do they require any professional certificate in the Italian language? If so, what level should it be?
Well, actually, the awarded degree, so the parchment, is itself a language certification of Italian language, because only the fact that you graduate in Italy, you will automatically achieve a level of Italian language. In our case will be a B2 level.
All right. Next two questions are somewhat similar. So Sakib is asking, is the 6th year only reserved for the internship, or is the 6th year for other study courses as well?
Well, for medicine, usually the 6th year you will have internship and lectures in your first semester. Then you will have the second semester dedicated, let's say, to the final discussion of the thesis. But tell me if I'm wrong, Mariada and Sara.
No, it's correct.
Okay.
All
And
right.
that's actually.
Next question, for the internship, which is mandatory in the 5th and 6th year, is this also observatory in Humanitas Hospital with real patients while you talk and diagnose them, or is it in simulations?
You will do both, actually, a part in the hospital and activities in the simulation center.
If I can add something, so in like the way it works from the 3rd year, so when we start our internships, is that during the period designated for the internships, half of the people are at the hospital in their wards, like in their specific departments, and the other half is doing simulation activities, and then we switch at the end of 2 weeks for the period that is, let's say, that we're supposed to be doing one thing or the other. And at the 5th and 6th year, it's the same. So for the mandatory internships, we have 1 month of internship, and then the other month is simulations. So we have both like all the time.
Okay, again, I have to clarify that you will do your internship, you will interact with the patient, but under the supervision, of the doctors, because you are not allowed to touch or
Yeah.
treat them independently. That's what, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. In the meantime, I'm also going to be dropping in our contact details as mentioned before in the chat box. So if anybody's interested to know more or about the application, about the entrance examination, then you can give us a call or send us an email. And for those of you whose questions were maybe not answered or didn't feel like or would like to ask something more, the recording of the webinar is available as well. So you could contact us on the same contact details. I cannot see any more open questions as of now. So I think this is where we can wrap up the session. And before we do, I'd also like to tell that Humanitas University is going to be at the Global Education Expo this in February in Alain, Dubai, and Abu Dhabi. So Ms. Rumina and her colleague both will be over here. And also, I'm going to be dropping our registration link for this exhibition too. So just give me a moment. Yes, that should be the shortest link that we can share. So you can click on that, register, and come meet Humanitas University. If I think that's about it, then we will wrap up the session. Thank you very much, Mr. Mina, Mariada, and Sarah for joining us as well.
Thank you, Mrs. Sarah. Thank you, Dr. Kadri, and see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you, Romina. Thank you, Mariada and Sarah. And thank you all the students for joining us. Have a lovely day. Bye.
You too. Bye.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
thank you.